Hello and welcome back to Stone Soup.
The World According to Sci-Fi Geeks. We're going to talk about some movies today. We got into this conversation on our walk about why is it that there were all these movies that were made from old TV series.
And they're still making them.
And they're still making them. TV series of the 60s and 70s and 80s. Why is it that some of them succeed brilliantly and others are so god-awful? So, we're going to talk about a few of them. Now, you may be convinced, my dear.
Well,
We'll start with the top.
okay. Let's start with The Addams Family. That came out, what, mid-90s?
Early 90s.
Early 90s.
Yeah,
yes.
because we were...
Based on the original show, same title, that came out in the late 60s. I think it was.
Yeah, mid to late 60s.
And now, technically, there were 3 of them, but only 2 went to theater. The third was straight to video. We've never seen the third one. We've seen both of the first 2, and they are wonderful.
Now, the third one had to have a different cast
Yes.
because Raul Julia had died, and I think Wednesday and Pugsley had gotten too old,
Yes.
and so they just recast the whole darn thing, and it went straight to DVD, and I think I've seen part of it, and it was just flat.
Yeah.
Because part of why the Addams Family works is that cast. That cast was fabulous.
You know, Angelica Houston, Raul Julia, Christina Ricci,
Chris Lloyd.
Christopher Lloyd. Thank you. Just for a moment there, I blanked on the man's name.
As Uncle Fester, he has had the most amazing career with all the
Yes.
different things he's played.
But
And he's been really, really fabulous at every last bit of it. Anyway, but especially Christina Ricci, who
Yes.
kind of
She was a total breakout.
Yeah, she was just total breakout, and she was like 12, if that.
yeah, for the longest time, even now, one of my favorite bits in the first movie is Wednesday and Pugsley. We're going to play a game. What kind of game? Is there a god? Chunk.
Yeah. You're going to die and find out and come back and tell me. There's a smudge on my glasses.
But see, part of the whole thing is respect for the original material, cast, and decent writing. The Addams Family movies had all 3.
And apparently the decent writing is the hard thing to get to.
Yes.
Because, okay, the next one on our list is George of the Jungle. When I first heard there was going to be a live-action George of the Jungle, my basic reaction was, they will never make that work. Because the original George of the Jungle, the cartoon, had this whole loony sensibility about it that was just over-the-top goofy.
Yes.
it's
Tongue
like
firmly in cheek.
They'll never do it right. They just won't.
They can't.
And I am so happy that I was wrong because it was goofy.
Yes.
And it was fun. And you can watch it 100 times and never get tired of it.
Yes. Because they looked at the original material, respected what was there, and said, this is what it has to be. And that's what they did. And again, they got a good cast.
I was saying,
Brendan
there's
Fraser.
one really big thing here. It's Brendan Fraser in a loincloth.
Yes.
It was officially great right then and there.
Yes. Well, Brendan also, he can do that sweet, goofy, naive thing.
So, yeah. And then we have Casper.
And again, the same thing. When we first heard there's going to be a live-action Casper, it's like, how can they make that work? I mean, the original cartoon was cute and all, but how do you do a full 2-hour live-action movie from that? But they managed it by keeping the idea of, sweet family thing, and funny. It is hilarious at times.
And also the concept that Casper, that a ghost is the remnants of someone who died. So Casper is this little boy who died.
Yep.
So they talk about how he died and why he died.
And
who
why,
he was before.
Who
he was before he was Casper the Friendly Ghost. And that makes it work. Also, again, Christina Ricci.
Yes.
You cannot go wrong with Christina.
No. Now,
Now,
then there are Charlie's Angels. Now, that was born of an age where spies were the big thing. Spies are still enjoyable, but they're no longer as big as they used to be. The first one worked very well. The second one, the writing just went downhill.
And making more noise is not making a better movie.
No.
Ask the guys who made Transformers 1 and 2. The first one is absolutely wonderful because it has this lovely story about these people and the robots.
Yes.
The second one is about these robots and the people. And it's noisy, and it's painful, and it's bigger, and it's not better. It's not even good. We have not had a chance to see the third one yet. We understand it's better. We'll see. We won't talk about that yet.
Yes.
Then you have a couple that bombed. We never even saw them. Even the ads made us not want to see them. Dukes
Yeah.
of Hazzard,
Now,
Beverly Hillbillies.
Yes.
You know,
The Brady Bunch. I kind of like the original show. Where I saw it in repeats
Yeah.
on Nick. But the commercials for the movie, I didn't want to see that because it looked like they had to put
I
this.
think they did a parody.
Yeah,
they
they
didn't. They didn't do the Brady Bunch. They did a parody of the Brady Bunch, which is
That's
fine.
good.
If it worked, cool. It must have worked because they did a second movie.
Yes. I know sometime, gosh, better part of a decade ago, I guess, there was a Josie and the Pussycats live action movie. But it made them look more like I forget what they're called, Pussycat Dolls, whatever, that girl band that's made up of strippers. And again, turn off from far as I'm concerned, and it did badly. As I understand, it didn't have much of a plot either.
That's another thing. When it comes back to the writing, you have to have a viable plot and good enough writing to carry this as if it had nothing to do with the 60s and the 70s and the 80s.
Yes.
You have to have a story worth telling. Or at least be able to tell a story that's not worth telling in a way that we want to hear it anyway.
Yes.
And then we come to the Avengers. Not the superhero Avengers that are coming up.
Yeah. Different Avengers.
This is Mr. Steed and Mrs. Peel.
Yes. More spy stuff.
This was
actually.
back in the 90s, more spy stuff. And it flopped big time. I've seen it. You've seen it.
Yes.
I can't really remember much about it.
Nope. I remember
I just
wasn't
know
impressed.
it fell flat as a fritter. What I remember is, I think it was Rafe Fiennes was a fine Steed. Uma Thurman sucked as Emma Peel.
Yeah.
Sorry, Uma. It wasn't you don't have that sensibility that Diana Rigg had, that very intelligent but kind of loopy thing.
Yes. And again, it's kind of hard translating spy things from the 60s to more modern day stuff.
Yeah.
Now, contrary-wise, there's something like Maverick, which didn't actually take place in the 60s. It takes place in the Old West.
Yes.
So that made it much easier to do it, now. as it
Yeah,
were.
basically it's not going to be aged because it's back in the Old West.
Uh-huh.
Plus, they had themselves a ball making it.
Yes. It
And
is just, delightful. Because, again,
Yes.
there's a good story there, well written, with a good cast. It's a crying shame what has happened to Mel Gibson in the last few years. I personally think he must have had a small stroke that
Or
changed
something.
his personality and
I
nobody's
mean,
noticed.
my remark on Mel Gibson is poor Mel. His mind went and took his face with it.
But Maverick is still fun to watch.
Yeah, but Maverick is still fabulous. And so, of course, it's got him, and it's got Jodie Foster, and it's got James Garner. First time we saw it in the theater, I leaned over to the gal next to me and said, if it was me, I would have cast him as Maverick's dad. And, of course, you get to the end, and lo and behold, spoiler if you haven't seen it, guess what? That's who he is.
Yep.
Now we'll talk about Brady Bunch. Land of the Lost also bombed. We also have not seen it because the ads made us want to run in the other direction.
Yes.
We liked the original series. Tell the story that's in the original series.
Part of
The
its
the main part of his problem was Will Ferrell.
Yes.
Bless his heart, when as soon as they signed him on, it became a slapstick comedy. But that's not what the series was.
No.
And you have a really cool drama there that you can tell.
But
Yep.
because what he does, what he is known for is slapstick, that's what it became.
That's what it
and
became.
that's what killed it.
Yeah. We talked about Transformers and Maverick and Brady Bunch. Scooby-Doo. We saw the first Scooby-Doo movie, live action Scooby-Doo movie,
Yes.
because we have Great Danes.
And we've always loved
and we've always loved
and
Scooby
It
anyway.
had Sarah Michelle Gellar, and we love Buffy. So,
So what the heck?
it's a little weird, but so is the cartoon. And it
Yeah.
was fun. They were obviously just doing the cartoon, and they did it well enough that it was fun. We haven't really seen the second one.
Yeah, I don't know why. I guess the ads again made us think, okay, this is not.
Or just, we'll get that on, we'll check that on
Or
tape.
maybe
and
we have, and we
didn't.
just don't remember it. Which
I think I've seen that,
also is not a good thing. If you can't remember whether or not you. Okay. Resident expert over here says, no, we have not seen it. Okay.
I think I've seen the last 30 minutes on TV.
And I think there was a third one or something with a different cast. Or they've made a couple of TV movies
And
with
there's some
live
TV
action.
movies about how they all first meet
Yeah.
and stuff.
Then there was G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe should have worked. It was a terrific series. It really was.
And we had such high hopes.
I mean, it had
Such
it
disappointment.
had Christopher Eccleston as the bad guy. I could just eat
that
that man up
doctor.
with a spoon. And I forget who the good guys were.
I do
That
too.
might be part of its problem.
Yeah, the writing was poor.
Poor.
Yeah, they went.
Execution was poor.
once
Directing
again,
kind of sucked.
they once again went with the, well, just put in lots of eye candy and everything will be fine
Fine.
route. No. The story was
Speed.
lame. The acting was, for the most part, lame. It just failed on so many
many
levels.
levels.
And it didn't have to.
And it didn't have to. They had possibilities there. Speed Racer. Oh my God, Speed Racer. Speed Racer kind of bombed at the box office, but we like it.
Yes.
We think it's really good.
A little seizure-inducing, but fun.
The colors are very, very bright and
At times move very,
and
very fast.
but that's okay. It was what the original cartoon was.
Yes.
Bright and fast, and guess what? Christina Ricci.
Look at that, man. I'm starting to see a pattern.
Yeah.
But, of course, part of Speed Racer is, part of the mentality you need to get into it is, Hot Wheel tracks that are full scale and work.
Yeah.
View it from that point of view, it's a bit more fun.
It's kind of weird when you're watching it if you hadn't, thought of that until then. And all of a sudden you sit up and you say, you know what? That's a Hot Wheels track. And everybody in the room says, oh my God, you're right.
Sweet.
Yes, we always wanted to drive one of those. Oh my God.
What?
An amusement park ride.
Ooh,
you get to be
yes.
Speed Racer. They'd have to do it so you aren't actually controlling the car.
True,
Or
at
people
least
will get
somewhat.
dead. And that's always bad for business.
Just a little.
But oh my God, why is this? Oh, one of those motion platform
Yeah.
rides. So you can pretend you're driving. That'd be cool. Yeah.
Green Hornet, which we just saw recently, is another half and half.
Again, they hired a comedian, or he hired himself. I'm not sure how it worked.
I
to
think he
play.
hired himself.
He hired himself. Seth Rogen
Yeah.
decided he wanted to see Green Hornet get made because he's a Green Hornet fan. Well,
Fair enough.
Fair enough. He wrote it, produced it, and starred in it. I don't think he directed it, but that's okay.
Glad for the best. Some of it works and some of it doesn't, because again, it changed some of the things in the original series that
And it-
should have been left alone.
And it couldn't make up its mind whether it was a comedy or a drama.
Yeah, which of course caused repeated
Yeah,
conflict.
it says there's this cosmic dissonance as you're watching it. Say, 1 minute you're, oh wait, it's this comedy. No, it's a drama. No, wait.
No, wait. Whoa.
Whoa. Time out. Can I just look at Kato for a while because he's cute and stuff?
Yeah.
Now, we've got one last one on this list. Actually, we have two, but one of them's not even out yet, so we're going to skip over it and go to Lost in Space. Lost in Space came out in the 90s. We can't remember it. We've
Not
seen
really.
it. We saw it in the theaters. I can remember one scene, Will running across the ship and dropping down through a porthole or a hatch or something. Can't remember anything else. I don't remember why he was doing that.
I remember that they ran into a future version of Will and Dr. Dr. Smith is turned into a giant spider monster.
Oh, dear.
Yes.
He probably shouldn't have eaten the fruit on that planet. You know how it
No.
goes. But anyway. Yes, that was Dr. Smith is played by Gary Oldman. I know
Yeah.
that. I don't remember it, but I know it. And I can't remember who played Will Robinson.
Nope.
But and I want to. I need to look it up. But anyway. So, Zorro
Yes.
and Thunderbirds. We do have two more up at the top. Zorro. We loved Zorro. The first one
Yes.
is fabulous movie. It's just terrific with
Okay,
you know.
Now, this one is interesting. Most of these were remakes of the original series. Zorro was actually a continuation of the original series.
Well,
Sort of.
the first one is a how he became Zorro.
Well, not exactly.
Well, there already was a Zorro. That's
Yes.
true. A
Basically,
new
it was
Zorro.
here's what what happened to the original Zorro after the time came that he would have retired, but things went bad.
Well,
And
see,
eventually, he
Zorro-
finds a new young man to train to be Zorro, Batman Beyond in the Old West.
Yeah. And it works. It works.
Yes.
And
It's
again,
very-
the
yeah.
cast. You've got Antonio Banderas,
Anthony Hopkins. Catherine Zeta Jones. I'm not sure how that's
whatever.
pronounced.
Oh dear.
Who did the main bad guy? I forget. Bless you.
Yeah,
It's been a while
yeah.
since we saw it. But again, there's wonderful writing, a good story, good characters,
Character-
good actors.
And good directing. It's a good movie.
Yes.
The second one we didn't go see, and because the ads told us they just did the same movie again. They had to break up the married couple so they could get back together.
Yeah.
That was
We get so
irritating.
tired of that crap. Pardon
Yeah.
my language.
I mean,
Is it
hello,
really so
go
hard?
look at the Mummy.
Exactly.
And Mummy 2. They'll show you how it can be done.
Yes.
There is no
It is-
need to do this other crap.
Yes. Why do the writers feel the need to do that stuff? It is not that hard to write a happily married couple.
Really, it's not. Okay. Thunderbirds. Last and least, Thunderbirds.
Yes.
Oh, that's supposed to be last but not least. No, I had it right
Nah.
the first time.
Yeah.
Thunderbirds bombed for many, many reasons.
Yes.
We have seen it. One of the reasons is they wanted to make this look like the original series. The original series was marionettes. These were people.
Yes.
The point is, the marionettes are supposed to be people. Just go with people.
Yeah.
But they did this bizarre makeup about half the time, not the whole time, but about half the time. And the youngest boy in the family wound up looking like a cross-dresser. It was the creepiest goddamn thing you've ever seen.
Severely distracting.
yeah,
I
when
couldn't
you-
even tell what the plot was, but I remember the makeup. What does that tell you?
Yeah, it tells me they screwed up. And the thing is, I know that there are such things as dailies. And, you start filming, and at the end of every day, you look over what you filmed in case you need to redo it. They had to have known somewhere in there they were screwing up. Why didn't they stop and regroup? I don't know. I just know they spent a whole lot of
Maybe
money
they just didn't have the money.
on a
Didn't have the
movie that
time.
like totally flopped and stuff, and it had Bill Paxton, and he's adorable and wonderful, and they blew it.
Yes.
And so there.
Basically, what we're observing is that when it comes to making movies from old TV shows, part of the key is, as I said before, understanding and respecting the original material and getting a proper cast and decent writers. For half of these, it's like, somebody said, yeah, I'll do it, and they didn't actually bother to find out anything about the original series other than the basic bare bones, and they just slapped something together and figured the original fans will come and see it.
Which
Actually,
sometimes they
no.
do, but once the original fans get once word of mouth gets out, and these days, word of mouth is word of fingers. You get on that internet.
Yep.
And you can blast something out of the water so fast, it can't even have a good opening. So, you got to wake up and smell the coffee.
And of course, it's also
It
the
is
matter.
no longer possible to foist off crappy shit on people. They know it's coming.
Yep. There's also the matter of some things just don't translate well into more modern times. Some things are such
Yes.
a product of their own time that they don't transition well.
Yeah. Speaking of Great Danes, I think we talked about it when it came out. Marmaduke.
Yeah.
The cartoon, the little cartoon in the paper is very enjoyable to those of us with Great Danes because it's very accurate.
Most
The
of the
movie
time.
just doesn't work.
No.
And I don't know why, but it just doesn't. Because, Owen Wilson makes a perfect voice for a Great Dane.
Yes.
Kind of goofy and silly and laid back, and they are all of that.
But there's also the simple matter of what was it that made the series popular in the first place. You can't always recreate that. Because if it's just a matter of it hit the public psyche in just the right spot at just the right time, how do you recreate that?
X-Files will always be wonderful, but if you recast it, it won't work. And I couldn't even tell you why, but there is something that David Duchovny has, that slightly off-kilter, I'm a little crazy thing that he just can radiate, or does when he's Mulder, that makes it work, that wouldn't work with anybody else.
If they wanted to do, say, a movie of The Man from U.N.C.L.E., they're going to have a few issues because the series itself wasn't all that good.
She's only seen like 2 episodes. Thinks she's an expert.
Fine. But
She's
whatever.
right, it doesn't hold up.
Yes.
That's the problem. Right
Again and again, it's another James Bond
there.
takeoff.
Ripoff. Yeah, it was at the time. It was a James Bond ripoff.
And the thing is, from my understanding,
Ending,
is that
it-
part of the reason it was popular was actually the secondary
Right,
lead
yeah,
character,
right,
Ilya Kuryakin, done by David McCallum.
Yes. And you cannot recreate David McCallum.
No.
He might have been able to. He has kids. I don't know. But there was just this essence that he had that was, he's a brilliant actor. He really is.
And he was much cuter than the lead.
Yeah, much cuter than the lead. But be that as it may, it's like when they did Dukes of Hazzard. They got the wrong freaking cast.
Yes.
But be that
The
as it
cast
may,
can be very
we are
popular.
being told to speed it up. So
Yes.
think about what we've said here today. There will be a quiz tomorrow. Bye-bye.
And Hollywood, try and be more original, please.
Please.